Hi. Probably the most important thing I can say to you is that there's this idea of being able to read from and write to neurons. And it doesn't sound like a big deal, right? But yet, if you have just a simple camera that you can point at anybody's head and read from any neuron, you can see the images people see, and the images people think, and the sounds people hear, and the sounds they think. And not only that, but if you have a particle beam, like an X-ray or whatever, that can write to your neurons, make your neurons fire, you can send pictures to appear, in front of a person's eyes, right, just out here in space, and send images to appear inside their thoughts, like think of a blue square, like there on that screen, and send sounds to be heard as if they were outside their ears, right, like out here, but they're not actually there, they're just in your brain, your neurons are being made to fire, right, or sending sounds that a person can hear just in their thoughts, like if you think of a song, just in your mind, that could be done, and then, I think perhaps the most important thing is that if you could write to a neuron, you could contract any muscle, any muscle, including the lung muscle and the heart, which is a muscle. Neuron writing would be a very dangerous weapon, in the hands of violent people. And I'm sorry to say that, humans on planet Earth have been divided, I think, into two groups. Those who see video in front of their eyes. In other words, the phone company will send them, video of different people and their thought screens and so on. And those who don't have video in their eyes, like me, I don't have video in front of my eyes. I mean, what about you? Do you have video that appears before your eyes? Many of us don't. Most of us don't. It's almost like a special service that the phone company provides, but only to a few people, and you can call them and try, how can I get video direct to neuron, and ask them, but I don't think you're going to be allowed to. They carefully choose who gets to see and who doesn't, who's in and who's out. And it's not democratic, I guarantee you that. We don't get to vote on it. So I'm sorry to say, that we're divided into two groups, those who have video in front of their eyes, those who don't. And if you don't have video squares in front of your eyes, then you're like me. We are the vast majority of humans. AT&T has chosen to deny us the service of seeing and hearing and sending thought calls. And we are not allowed to reproduce because no person who does not see and hear thought is going to have a relationship with us. It would be like living with a blind person. You see their thoughts, but they don't see yours. They would constantly have to repeat their thoughts verbally. And any person who doesn't see videos in their eyes is going to think our claims of neuron reading and writing with very little physical evidence are too crazy and dangerous to have a relationship with. People who, just listen to me. If you don't have videos in your eyes, what do you think about what I'm saying? And I don't have any evidence to show you that people could read from and write to neurons, and yet you're going to believe me. Think about it. I think most people will be like, no, Huntington, without any evidence, you can't believe it, And it's scary to think that you do believe it, even though just my own experience shows that it's true and it seems very likely and possible. So, you can see the kind of position that people like us are in because you have no physical evidence to prove what you're saying, that we're outsiders, that we're the excluded, that AT&T are monsters, that they're elitists and there's an apartheid, and it's beyond apartheid, it's genocide on the planet Earth between those who get video in their eyes and the rest of us who are left out in an Auschwitz of cold, who don't get to reproduce or have no possibility of mating and making a wonderful family. I doubt seriously that you would feel that, but if you do see video squares of people and their thought images in front of your eyes and in your mind, I doubt seriously that you feel that you are allowed to see everything that you want to see. There must be much more that you want to see that AT&T won't show you. So, I think we should work together. You know, beyond that, I think the most important thing I want to tell people is that our future is to build a globular cluster, which is a collection of stars, right? If we succeed, that seems like it would be our likely future. So, and that seems to be, to me, a very important idea. You know, and so also, see my looking for a woman to make and raise children with part on my webpage. You know, people are usually secretive about this, but, you know, I see no reason to be. I'm 40 years old, and my time to make a wonderful family is becoming less and less, right? You know, in particular, because I don't get to see videos in front of my eyes. So in particular, if you're a female 18 to 35 who fits even remotely with those criteria listed that I list and likes me and the things that I stand for, and that I'm interested in, which is science and stopping violence and so on, and free info. You know, and if you don't have video in front of your eyes, or even if you do, and you know, maybe it's an unusual thing to hear, but it's true. You know, I definitely encourage you to contact me through email or by phone or even in person, you know, at UCI. You know, and please respect my preferences. If I say I'm not interested in even a friendship, you know, but I doubt that would ever happen. You know, I'm so interested in friendship. Even those women with video in your eyes, you know, wouldn't it be wonderful to build a bridge between the in and the out instead of the icy wall that exists now? I mean, this is an absolutely terrible era we live in. You know, and most people don't even know it. The killers of JFK, Martin Luther King Jr., Robert Kennedy, John Lennon, they're all on the loose. You know, 9/11, the controlled demolition, the 200-year secret of reading from and writing to neurons, the 2,000-year delusion of Jesus, this Jewish guy, and Muhammad, you know, and Buddha and Moses and all the deities of history. I mean, thousands of gods and mystic spirits controlling everything in people's minds. You know, they read their horoscopes, they follow sports, they do all this stuff, you know, that's pointless and such an unbelievable waste of precious, precious time. You know, our lives are so short. You know, millions of secret muscle contraction, galvanization, murders, nonviolent people languish in prisons for decades simply for consensually buying and selling drugs or sex. I mean, while violent murderers and assaulters we don't get to see, we don't even see them. Watch us without any commercial interruption whatsoever, you know, in our houses and our thoughts, and twitch our muscles every 5 minutes. Just absolutely terrible, this era we live in. I mean, a lot of people, you don't even know it. But there have been worse times on Earth for sure. You know, Galileo's time where the scientists were murdered, you know, I mean, the Inquisition and so on. So, you know, we can think, you know, that things are not so bad. So let's talk about it. You know, talking about this might help. You know, I mean, doesn't anybody want to talk about neuron reading, and in particular, neuron writing? I mean, I do. I think it's kind of important. You know, the idea of writing to somebody's neurons. You know, like our brain is a hard drive or a floppy disk or something. You know, and then it's handed over to these criminals in AT&T and our government and so on, who are multiple murderers. And, you know, who did 9/11, and on and on and on, you know, I mean, and murdered the Kennedys, and Thane Caesar and Frank Sturges are still on the loose. They protect them, and so, you know, I mean, it's unbelievable. That's what I'm saying, you know, and there's a certain amount of romance in the struggle that I'm leading, you know, against these, the people who lick the hole of AT&T, the dirty a-hole of AT&T, and, you know, we want the truth about neuron writing and neuron reading and everything else, and we want to stop the violence. So welcome to my webpage, and let's and give me an email. Let's talk.